So its entire process of Trika is open to Christianity as well to learn, open to Islam also to learn, and all the other religions of the world to learn.
Right.
Trika opens you up like that because it has no restrictions. We say like, you may call it, we call it Shiva.
Right.
You may call it God. You may call it Allah.
Fascinating. I think Paramhamsa, Swami Vivekananda's master said, there's like one peak, but there are so many ways to reach that point.
Absolutely. Swami Lakshmanji used to say, our Guruji's Guruji, he used to say always, means are plenty, meant is one.
Wow. So another thing that's really intrigued me for a very long time now is it started off with a fancy philosophy, non-duality. I'm like, ooh, what is this? What if there's only one thing? But then I perhaps went, I can certainly say I went quite deep into the idea of philosophy until it started disorienting my sense of reality a little bit. And what are your thoughts on non-duality in Shaivism especially?
Shaivism is a non-dual approach but it's from the lowest level of micro questioning this reality to macro, where Advaita Vedanta is only macro. Trika Tantra and its processes help us to understand what are the micro inhibitions that I have, micro contractions that I have in my life.
Right.
A thought comes in with which you go into self-doubt, a contraction. We accept that too. Okay, I've had this thought, but I know how to change it. Advaita Vedanta is more towards Jnana Marga. Trika moves with Bhakti, Jnana and Kriya. Strong willpower and surrender to surrender to something that is supreme than us. Strong willpower with surrender is very important. Intake of knowledge from scriptures and taking that knowledge and acting upon that knowledge and taking action accordingly. So, it's the entire holistic approach which is complete in Trika. I have studied non-duality personally as far as Advaita Vedanta, and I'm fascinated by their approach as well. But still, it kind of falls short on the person who is not enlightened, who has no clue about this.
True.
Trika approaches that also through bhakti. Ishvara pranidhananiva, says Patanjali in his Yoga Sutras. By bhakti, also you can reach that.
And do you believe, for you, how's devotion? Because devotion is something I'm personally just starting to get into, and it is a beautiful path, devotion. But do you feel after a certain point when you become one with the Absolute, is there still reason for devotion? Like, how does the flavor of devotion change?
Flavor of devotion always should be not via something higher or lower, but only via love. Path of devotion is via love. How much do you love yourself also? Now, you've seen Shivji's photographs and murtis in which he is meditating.
Right.
So, if Shiva is Supreme God Consciousness itself, what is he meditating on? Ever thought about that?
Oh. Yeah. Can only be himself.
Exactly. So, this bhakti is also towards yourself. Why not?
Right.
This love towards yourself, who said you can't practice that? Surrender towards the fights that are occurring inside of you. Who said that you cannot accept that?
Right.
Now, at the point of oneness, You are in bhakti with yourself.
Right.
There's no differentiation there, like, that there is that and this.
That's where when the non-dual realization come back. Okay.
Oneness.
Oneness.
Non-duality is what? Oneness.
Yes, oneness. Again, there's the saint who said like he doesn't want to become one with God because he perceived God as a hill of sugar and he was just a small ant and he was just happy. Just, what would happen if you just
I wouldn't say it's a right analogy.
Okay. Yeah.
Then this is different and that is different. When I give you the analogy of you being a part of the ocean of consciousness, being a drop in it, drop of the ocean, then you are always one with that God consciousness. No, if you think of yourself as an ant and that as then this and that occurs. Then the duality is produced.
Right. And do you feel as long as there is duality, as long as there's a sense of me and that subject and object, there will be suffering?
Absolutely. Once a person realizes that objects also have consciousness and energy inside of them, and the subject also has consciousness and energy inside of himself or herself.
This reminds me of a beautiful story. There's this saint from Kerala, Srinarayana Guru. So he had this temple installment. So it was a small little shrine, but you open the door and there's just a mirror over there. And then most people they used to get a lot like confused, like what's the meaning of this? But it's actually quite significant. The fact
Absolutely.
that yeah.
Your image is reflected in your own eye and you worship yourself also. But that is at the state of oneness. That's why I always say Trika takes you from deep below of I've had this thought, I've had this feeling and I'm taking this action which does not serve me.
Right.
Become alert and aware of that.
Right.
And ask yourself what is the root of that experience. So it's self-inquiry is very, very prominent also in, which is prominent in Advaita Vedanta. But Advaita Vedanta says, keep asking, who am I?
Right.
And you'll get there.
Right.
But let's say, if you have thought processes that don't serve you, feeling processes that don't serve you, and action processes that don't serve you in your life, then that who am I will never be fructified. That question you can keep asking for 7 lifetimes, still you will not get an answer. Till the time you do correction on the micro levels.
Right.
Of one thought which is generated inside of you, watching it and correcting it.
Right.
Lamp of discerning and discrimination.
The lamp of discerning and discrimination
Has to shine brightly.
Right.
Then only that light inside of you will come out.
Right.
That prakasha will come out.
Right. Because self-inquiry has been something that has intrigued me also as a technique and a form of, is it meditation or contemplation?
Contemplation and introspection.
Okay. But ideally it is said that it's supposed to lead you to silence, the thought.
Ideally it is supposed to, but it doesn't, because you can get human
Lost,
tendency is to get stuck, entangled into vichara or thought processes.
But would you also agree that every thought you have is an opportunity for realization?
Absolutely. Or it takes you towards not realization.
Non-realization.
Every thought can take you, we talk about Ghora Shakti, Aghora Shakti. So the thought which produces darkness within you, the illumination goes away, is known as Ghora Shakti.
Okay.
The thought which takes you rising towards illumination is known as Aghora Shakti.
Aghora Shakti. Okay.
Both are thoughts,
right?
But one is making you fall and one is making you rise.
Right.
Both are the world of Shakti. Are produced in the world of Shakti only. Thought is an energy.
Right.
Shakti.
True. It's very vibrant.
But one point she becomes the illuminating factor, And one point she becomes Maya, the diminishing factor.
Also, if the fact that it's true, right? Illumination is always happening. Like, everything is illuminated.
Everything is illuminated in this universe, isn't it?
Right.
Via God consciousness.
But it's like we forget. Is it a certain sense?
Yes, there's a wheeling that happens because this God consciousness, which is unlimited in nature,
Right.
becomes limited inside a human being.